Good morning, Rabbi Isai. לעילוי נשמת ממרוצים בספורחי. היום 2 יום שהם 6 שבועות. לא אומר, בוא אומר. Rabbi Isai, this coming Shevuos, the women got together and they got the very, very famous Miriam Pascal. I think that's how you pronounce her, from the cookbook. She's going to be on Zoom. She's going to teach the oil how to make cool things for Shevuos. Tell your wives. Join MDY Wives. One of the, we had a shtickle, okay, I'm not going to talk about it now. It's not kedai to talk about it. What we're going to talk about is the safari. I gotta, listen, I got to get it out. And Be'ezer Shem, within a year, I will not be speaking about this safari. I do want to show you our two. This is what I heard from people, that everybody wanted to be on Benny Rudnick's Jeep. Guys, he came with spirit, he came with, here he is, he came to butcher something, it was gewaldig.
He wasn't getting in the truck.
So, like this, Nachamal. We saw the Yad Hashem, seriously, the Olam saw the Yad Hashem, especially with the cheetah thing, but I want to tell you something. Before we went, there was a lot of concern from Shamshi Shlafrak, who was here last night, he's not here now. What's going to be with the rain? It's the rainy season, and he looked it up, 10-day forecast, it's all rain, 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 rain. And in fact, it was raining every day, you could see the rain, rain. I told him, don't worry about it. When MDY goes, there's no rain. We got there, we saw the puddles, we saw that it did rain the day before, but that was it. The sun came out, it was beautiful weather. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't cold, it was perfect. And then in the morning of the day, right before the long day, Wednesday, when everybody was together, I said, Rabbi, you see what's going on here? Look at the sky, it's so beautiful, no rain. I told you it's not going to be rain, there's nothing to worry about. I opened up my mouth a little too quick. And in the middle of the afternoon, all of a sudden, the clouds come in, and it started raining. And here's the Yad Hashem. Check this out. There was this rock that was like 30, 40 feet tall, and on top of the rock, we noticed a male lion, which we didn't see. Male lion. And we're trying to get a good view of him. He was sitting down, and he stood up, and all the jeeps are coming. The male lion, but it's kind of far. And then the rain started. Here, you can see the rain. You see how it's raining? In the picture, you see the raindrops. And lions do not like rain. So the lion decided he's going to come down and visit our jeeps. So he came all the way down, 2 hour jeeps, literally 2 hour jeeps, and he started walking slowly. And he showed us what it means to be melech pared together. There's thousands of wildebeest and zebras, and he started walking slow. And they split, they were running for their lives, but he wasn't trying to catch them, he was just walking. And so the whole rain lasted for 3 minutes in the entire trip, just so that we could see this male lion. Azay's given, and that was the whole trip from beginning to end. Here's the male lion going on a little spazier between the wildebeest, Mordek. Here's the cheetah. Avi took this picture. Yeah, that's you? This is Mo Landy, the one who started the learning on the plane thing. These are the cheetahs, the mother and the baby, right before the big hunt, the finale. This is like the last shot in the finals, and then you go out and then you retire. It was 20 minutes before Shacharis, and that was the last thing we saw. We didn't see anything after that. We didn't see anything before that day, and that was it. Couldn't get any better, huh? You didn't need to. Nobody wanted to see anything after that. You don't want to ruin it. This is Nairobi, Rabbi Isai.
Ready? Good morning, Nairobi!
From now on, I'm going to call this individual Ilan Davidovich. He said his name is not Davidovici. It comes from Davidovich in Hebrew. Here's Ilan learning for 2 hours in the plane. Somebody told me he was learning for 2 hours. I mean, he probably learned more, but the last 2 hours of the flight, here they are. Donnie Benedict was here last night. He said there was not a single seat in business class that wasn't from us. They took over the entire business class. And I'm happy to see that Benzi made it, because I don't know, he was supposed to be in a different flight or something. He wasn't sure about his flight. Anyways, it was a very good time. There's a lot of Yad Hashem, Yad Shmaya. A lot of friends were made. And Be'ezer Hashem, the whole Olam is invited to come with us our next trip, maybe to Australia. And if you can't make it to Australia with us, you can go with Nachman Seltzer. He's doing a trip It just had your face. There's no pictures of a street. Nachman Seltzer is coming. Anonymous, huh?
Not enough.
For most people it is. For me, not. Mesechta sponsor, Anonymous, Hatzlacha, bruchnius, is. Koil sponsor, Anonymous, Reb Itzik T on lots of Hatzlacha in business and life. Monthly sponsors, Leah nishmat Zechariah ben Moshe, Leah nishmat Zechariah bas Yosef, Parnasa Birevach for Baruch, Tzvi, Nissim ben Shoshana, Leah. What's your name again?
Donnie Abramoff.
Donnie Abramoff from?
I live in Clifton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I have an apartment in Yerushalayim, and I'm the president of Yeshiva Hechal Torah.
The famous Hechal Torah, the guys that did the daf.
Yeah, we had over 40 guys that did the daf.
What, Marcus?
Marcus.
Yeah.
And
How's Shevuos going for them?
my son continued Shevuos, and a whole bunch of guys actually continued.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not so partial. But if they can finish Shevuos, they can finish Shas.
Exactly. They're doing it for years.
Beautiful. So your son did it. Gewaldig.
Yeah, amazing. And we brought some actually, since, we have over 40 guys doing the daf, so, we figured you're officially kind of a Rebbe. So,
Wow.
we got
Hechal Torah merch.
Hechal Torah merch, and we did maybe some,
MDY thing.
an MDY thing on the
Wow.
side over here.
Shkoyach. Now, yeah, I could have used this in the safari. Shkoyach, thank you so much.
We also brought you a sefer that the boys put out. And one of our Menalim was Nifter last year, Avi Oberlander.
Wow.
And we put together a sefer on Zmiris for Shabbos. So.
Shkoyach, thank you so much. Gewaldig, thank you.
Thank you.
Comes
so
with
much.
gifts. Everybody said when you come here, you come with gifts. That's how it works. Thank you. Yishmak. Let me ask you something. You are the president?
Of the yeshiva, yeah.
So why don't you do like, instead of a night seder, put a screen with MDY. Let them learn the shir. What do you say?
Okay.
And then you'll be the trailblazer, and then we'll, we'll go from yeshiva to yeshiva. And Avi Factor could learn it if he wants. When he goes to America,
Next
he won't
time
miss
he
any
comes to
shiurim.
America-
What do you say? Yeah. Okay. Do
Next time you come to
it.
America,
Do it.
We'd love to host you for a shir.
Yeah.
You have 220 boys. We would love to hear you.
Okay. Gewaldig. Shkoyach. Boys, alu v'hatzlichu. Moshe Aron, I said this in Miriam Landy for the Hatzlacha of all our children. ActualEyes in honor of David, Duvie, Merkin of Eastern Union and all the Silver Spring daffers. Eli Dyckman for the Refuah sheleimah of Tinuk ben Rivka and Rivka bas Gilah. Weekly sponsors Dov Eisenberger in honor of the members of Chaverim of Bergen County. Teamwork makes the dream work. Anonymous, Leah nishmat Mital Na'mי bas Ruben, a mother of 13 who's just nifteres on Yud Gimel Iyar. Anonymous, B'schus Hatzlacha Lemdi Adaf. Hatinuk Adironen ben Ilana Sara. Yiskim Meher Lefor Shnei min HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Daily sponsors. So this person, he took all these sponsors today. He's sponsoring the shir, the art, the coffee, the koilel, and MDY Kids. First time somebody did something like that. Anonymous. L'zecha Nishmas, Uncle Nochem Meir ben Siena Koyen, 10th yard site, 27th of the year. Maybe a Melitz Yosher for us all. It looks like this person is Hasidish, because he said your site.
You misturned the daf.
You have to mention it 5
No,
times.
you're right. Daily sponsors the shir. Daily sponsors the art. Daily sponsors the coffee. The koilel, MDY Kids. L'zeich nishmas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows. Nochem Meir ben Siena Koyen. Gewaldig. MDY Kids. Innovations Chus for official Elchanan Akiva Rifki and Mrs. Stefansky. Art of the month. Shleimah 4. Yonatan Edom Sheva Bracha. For Chus for rebellion, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah and Jewish so many. In honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi Sai, we're holding 15-20 lines from the bottom. Shevuos Lo Yochal Bezer Shem. We're going to finish today's daf. It's a shorter Amud Aleph. Givaldic stuff. So we had a little bit of an issue with the Mishnah. It seems like there's a contradiction in the actual Mishnah. Because it says that if a person, Shevuos Lo Yochal, person swears he's not going to eat anything, and then he eats something that's not edible. It says that if you eat something that's not edible, is potter. We understand now something that's not edible is like no, not afgirikach. Like a cheeseburger. So it's not edible. You can't eat it. And then it says in the Seifa that if he says I'm not going to eat, and he eats treif, he's chayiv. So what's the pshat? So hagufa kasha. So the Gemara is going to answer at the end what you just said. That one is talking about dirt. It's not talking about. That's the easy way out. So now, before we get there, the Gemara says, "Hagufa kasha. Amr shvush lo yochal v'ochal lacholam shelim merim lachila." A person swore that he's not going to eat, and then he eats things that are not edible. V'shasa mashkin shein ruim l'shtia, and he drinks drinks that are not drinkable, like maybe Yainesach, Potter. Well, they're Tani in the same Mishnah, it says, in our Mishnah, Shevuos shleimah, if a person swears he's not going to eat, Bachal Levesu Treifos. Shkotz and Virimasim eats treif, Chayav. He is Chayav. As the Gemara, Maishna Reisha, the Potter, Maishna Sefer, the Chayav. What's the difference? It says Gemara Kasha. I could get away with it because I could say, Reisha Bistam. He never specified what he's not going to eat. So Memela, Nevela, the treif stuff is not included. Reisha Bistam. Nevela is not included. So if you eat Nevela, you're Potter. From the Shevuah part, you're Potter. You didn't break your Shevuah. Why? Because you didn't specify a Nevela. Beseva b'mefaresh. But the second part of the Mishnah is where he says specifically, I'm not going to eat a Nevela, and then he eats a Nevela, so even though it's Nevela, he's chayiv on the Shevuah. So Gemara says, Mefaresh nami gufei tiksha, but I have a problem with, even if you specify, Amai mushba mahar sinayu. We had this question a bunch of times. I don't know how many, at least 3, 4. How could he make a Shevuah on a Nevela? The Torah says you're not allowed to eat a Nevela. So if the Torah says you're not allowed to eat a Nevela, your Shevuah doesn't work, b'chlal. You can't make a Shevuah on something that you already are usher in. You're usher to eat a Nevela, you're usher to eat treif, so your Shevuah to eat the treif is not going to work. What's the answer to this? He said Chatzi Shir. He says Koilo. Which one is it? Both.
Chatzi Shir makes it Koilo.
No. Rav Shmuel Birevach Na'mri. Big Koilel Dvarim Hamutarim Im Dvarim Hasurim. If you want, you could have trauma, or it's very, very simple actually. This is a Koilel. Koilel is better. The Torah says Leiseichlu Kol Nevela. The Torah already says you can't eat a Nevela. So that cheeseburger on the table is already aser. Now, if he goes ahead and he says a Shevuah that I'm not going to eat anything, and that includes an MDY schnitzel sandwich, a kosher sandwich, so since it's already including the Shevuah, it works really well. On what? On the schnitzel, and on grapes, and on apples, and on all things that are mutter to eat. So once the Shevuah has a place to rest on, and it's chal, you don't just take the Shevuah and throw it out. It's a good Shevuah. It works on the kosher food. Therefore, it also work on the tray food. Now, if you think about it, nothing happened to the cheeseburger. There's no added isser on the cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is also because it's a cheeseburger. What you did is you made an isser on yourself, on the gavra. If you want to be lumdish over here, there's an additional isser on the person, on the gavra. He made it himself asr on all kosher foods. Once that's chal on him to be asr on other foods, so that same Shevuah is going to apply itself to the cheeseburger as well. But nothing was added to the cheeseburger. What if I added isser to the cheeseburger? In other words, let's say I have a piece of chaylev. I have a piece of fat. What if I have a cheeseburger? Not a cheeseburger, a piece of chaylev. I have a piece of chaylev. And chaylev is issa deraisa to eat, unless it's from a wildebeest. It's chaya. It's a carbon. It says a piece of chaylev. Where's my thing? Oh. Let's see if this works over here. Here's a. I'm just doing chazar over here. So for later, this is super simple. We're only going to have this for one line, but it's kedai to know this and understand it. A piece of chaylev, a piece of fat, is aser for all humans to eat if it comes from a cow. But if it's part of a carbon, you take it and you put it on the mizbeach. So it's mutter to the mizbeach. Let's say I add an isser to this piece of chaylev. Until now it was aser to humans. And now I say, from today on, a day goes by, and now it expired, the meter expired, so it became noisar. So now it's also to put on the mizbeach. So now I added an isser to this piece of food itself, not to the person, to the food. That's called isser moisef. That's a lot worse. Okay, so We're not holding there yet. I'm just a preview. But that's it. We're only going to learn for a minute. And I just don't want people to be traumatized. It sounds like, oh, it's a koilel, it's a moisev. Wow. No, it's not complicated. It's very simple. So koilel is, there's an isser on the hamburger already from the Torah. You're not allowed to eat an avela. And then we're saying that other foods are also usser. Says the Gemara. So that's one pshat. What's going on over here, the reason why it works, the Shevuah works, on the nevela is because you also made a Shevuah that you're not going to eat anything else. You're on a serious diet today. Yeah, you did one of those intermittent fasting, and I said this, I'm going to say it in Nachamal. If you want to do well on your diet, take my eitzah. You make a Shevuah that if you eat today, whatever you don't want to eat, you're going to give tzedakah to a place you don't like at all. A lot of tzedakah.
No Shevuah.
Beli Shevuah, Beli Neder. Correct. You don't need a Shevuah. It works with that. It's saying Beli Neder. So this guy decided to do a Shevuah, but he added kosher food as well. Oh, since it works with the kosher, it works with the non-kosher, and added aveira on eating nevela, even though the Torah says you're not allowed to eat nevela. Rish Lakish, I have another pshat. Believe the Rabbana. Says Rish Lakish, I'll tell you why. You're right. Nevela is already also min Torah. But what if I eat a half a kezayis of a nevela? That's not also min Torah. The Torah says it has to be a certain amount. It has to be a full olive's worth. And you, in your Shevuah, you specify that you're not even going to eat a half a olive. So if you specify you're not going to eat a half a olive, that's why the Shevuah works. Because the Torah doesn't say that you're not allowed to eat a half olive. Chatzi shir, mutter min Torah. It's not also min Torah according to Rish Lakish. I'm adding something that the Torah doesn't talk about. I'm saying even a half olive. I'll leave the Rebkiva, or it could go where he doesn't specify in his Shevuah, but he ate. That by him making a Shevuah, according to Rebkiva, even putting on his tongue, just tasting it, you're also aser. So again, you ask me, how come the Shevuah works? It shouldn't work. There's this in the Torah. The answer is because it's only half a shear, or it's a mashu, which the Torah doesn't say it's aser. The reason why Rabbi Yechon doesn't want to say, well, according to Rabbi Kiva, he didn't say Shevuah, and it's a kol shu. He didn't specify in Shevuah. According to Rabbanon, he specified in Shevuah half. He doesn't want to go into that. So he just said something that's easy to remember. Isser chaylol. He made it asur on himself to eat all kosher foods. I understand. Isn't it easy just to say Rabbi Yochanan that the Mishnah is talking about an Isser Kailol, and that's why the Shevuah works? Very simple. Let's say you have a piece of chaylev. Let's say you have a hamburger. You have a cheeseburger. And then Yom Kippur shows up. Who brought Yom Kippur here? Not you. It showed up by itself. Hashem brought it here. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu adds Isser to your hamburger, Yom Kippur, on top of the chaylev, on top of the treifa, that's Isser Kailol. But not you, human being, add a Isser by you swearing. That's not Isser Kailol he holds. There is no Isser Kailol when you swear and add stuff to it. Isser has to come by itself. But when you yourself add stuff, it doesn't work. Says the Gemara, I can understand the corner of Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish says we're talking about, again, what does he say? We're talking about a half a shear. Rabbi Yochanan says we're talking about a whole shear, but he also added other stuff. According to Rish Lakish, we're talking about a guy who made a Shevuah, I'm not going to eat even a half a kezayis. So I understand why, according to Rabbi Shimon, you're potter over here. Why? In order to get malchus in the Torah, all you need to do is eat the smallest amount. Put it on your tongue, taste it, and you get malchus. So why is there the famous shear of kezayis? A little carbon. If you want to be able to bring a carbon, you have to eat a geshmaka amount of kezayis. But in order to get malchus from the bezdin, even a small amount. So it comes out that if you eat a small amount, it's asur. That means Yeshua is nachal. What happened? You made a Shevuah that you're not going to eat this cheeseburger. Guess what? Your Shevuah doesn't work. Why? Because even if you put the cheeseburger on your tongue, you're going to get malchus. You're not going to get a carbon. You're not going to have to bring a carbon because you need a kezayis, but you get malchus. That means that minat Torah, it's also even to taste it. It's also to taste it, then your Shevuah has nowhere to apply itself. It's not going to be chal. There's no shvuah at all. That's why, according to Reb Shimon, you're potter for the shvuah part. Of course, you're chayiv for eating a cheeseburger, but on the carbon, the oil of the yored part, you're potter. Who says what? We're talking about it. Isser Kailo. A guy made a shvuah on a full kazayas of nevela, but he also included schnitzel sandwiches and apples and everything else. So that's why you're usher on the nevela. My time in the Reb Shimon the potter. How come Reb Shimon says you're potter in such a case? The Gemara very simple. Midu time elam mishum isser Kailo. Rabbi Yochanan is talking about it isser Kailo. Reb Shimon l'tamei the less isser Kailo. He doesn't hold of isser Kailo. So that's why you're potter. Again, the Torah says you're not eating a nevela. You made a shvuah, you're not going to eat a nevela together with schnitzel. It doesn't work. It's not going to apply itself to the nevela because he doesn't hold of kailo. Potter. I had a friend, one of my best friends. He came to us, he said this many times. We invited him for Shabbos right after Yom Kippur. He didn't even step into my house. And him and his wife, we ate Chazer Yom Kippur with such a smile. Because they were going off the derech then. They became atheists. So I heard this ma'isa. I wish I could have told him. Ein Isser Chalal Isser. Go back and do it again. It doesn't work. We'll see. But just to deflate him. You're so excited. You ate Chazer Yom Kippur. Ein Isser Chalal Isser. You ate Yom Kippur. Or you didn't. You ate Chazer, you didn't eat Yom Kippur. You can't get to Yom Kippur because you ate Chazer. Huh? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but he doesn't know Reb Shimon. If he knew Reb Shimon, he wouldn't go off the derech. A guy comes to the Rav and he says, Rav, I need a tikkun. I was over a terrible thing. He says, what? He says, I didn't wash my machreinim vaser. I didn't wash my... The Rav says, wow, that's chomer. That's very chomer. No, but Taka, why didn't you wash my machreinim? Look, I didn't wash before the hamoitzi, so I said, I'm going to wash after. He says, but why didn't you wash before? He said, because I wasn't gonna bench, so if I'm not gonna bench, why would I wash before? So now, Rebbeinu Shleilam, you're not gonna bench. He says, of course I can't bench. How could I bench? There's chazer in my sandwich. He says, chazer in your sandwich, you meshuga. He says, what do you want me to do? I was starving, and all the stores were closed. It was Yom Kippur, so I went and I bought a... This guy, he tries to eat a nevela Yom Kippur. There is a Musar Haskell here.
Met those people.
No, people, they're the biggest Rishayim.
These guys and the hotel.
Right.
You met them.
No.
Those kind of guys, yeah.
No, but the guy's coming, he's saying, he did the small. No, you didn't do the smallest, you did the biggest, or don't hack a chinik.
No, but that's the...
My machronim is worried about.
That's the mindset.
Right here? That's the mindset?
But he's eating...
I don't know. Okay, we're not going to... Forget those guys. Talking about a regular from guy. He's over and all sorts of stuff. And he thinks, no. To him, he's like, wow, as mamish over. As mamish over, my machronim. A guy comes in Yom Kippur. Think about it. A guy comes in Yom Kippur and he says, he makes a cheshbon and nefesh. He makes a cheshbon and nefesh. He says, what did I do this year? Zero. Nothing. I mean, I ate, maybe once I ate Shoshana and the pizza. He doesn't have. Okay.
Bishloim Miller Lakish.
Yeah. Bishloim Miller Lakish. Mishkachas lo belavehein. Very, very gishmak. Check this out. It says in the pasuk like this. We saw this pasuk a number of times. Lahora or lahetev. Lahora or lahetev. So the Gemara darshans, one means no and one means yes. Okay, that's one thing that we learned from it. The other one is future and the past. Lahora lahetev. In other words, every single shvuah has to have the positive and the negative. You cannot make a shvuah that only works one way. You have to say, I will eat and I won't eat. I did eat and I did eat and I didn't eat. No, not a daigafel. You have to be able to do it. Able. If you say shvuah, I will not eat chocolate, then you have to be able to say the same thing. I will eat chocolate. If it's for whatever reason, you can't say, I will eat chocolate, so then you cannot swear that I won't eat chocolate. Each shvuah has to have the ability to have a ra and a toiv, the negative and the positive. Here, for instance, our case, this is not done, on the 100% professional, because it all comes on the screen in one shot. According to Rish Lakish, I won't eat. What did Rish Lakish say? We're talking about a case where a guy made a shvuah on a half a shear. Because the whole shear is in the Torah. It says you're not allowed to eat an nevela. So it can't be that this is what the guy swore, because his shvuah wouldn't be chal on a full shear. So what did he do? He made a shvuah. I'm not going to eat even a half a shear. He's a big tzaddik. He wants to be machmer. I won't even eat a half a shear. Oh. So the negative is I won't eat a half a shear of nevela. And what's the positive? I swear that I will eat a half a kazayis of nevela. Is that a shvuah that can be chal?
No.
Why not? What? Ooh, I can't hear you. Mush b'vayimid? No, he's not mush b'vayimid. Oh, it's a trick. It's not mush b'vayimid. Why is it not mush b'vayimid, David? Because what? Because it's half a shear. No, it's a half a shear and it's not asr. He holds chatzi shear not asr min ha-Torah. So Mamela shvuah will work on a half of this. So let's go back. Could he make a shvuah for the negative? Yes. I will not eat this half a kazayas. He could. Could he make a shvuah, I will eat a half a kazayas nevela? Yes. Because it's half a shear, and half a shear it would work. Is it the right thing to do? No. But is it usr? But according to Rabbi Yochanan, we're talking about a full shear. So full shear, then that's what David said. You cannot make a shvuah. You can make a shvuah, I will not eat a full shear. Great. But how are you going to say, I make a shvuah that I'll eat a cheeseburger? You cannot make such a shvuah against the Torah. Because it's a full shear. According to Rish Lakish, we're talking about a half a shear. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we're talking about a full shear. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, we have a major problem. It's such a problem that we have no way out of it. Now we have to retract every single thing we said today, all the way to the beginning of this year. Reverse. Mamish, erase it. Inside. I have a negative and a positive. I get it. You could do, I will not eat nevela. That's perfect. How could you swear that I will eat a nevela? Reb David, how does Rish Lakish say? I will eat a nevela. How does it work according to Rish Lakish? Because it's a half a shear, so it works on a half a shear. Ella means literally, forget everything, scratch it all. Ella kedarava. And that's what Rabbi Feder said, what's his name again? Shimshon. That's what he said all the way in the beginning. Let's go back to the easy explanation. You had a contradiction in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that if somebody swears he's not going to eat nevela, he's not going to eat something not edible it says. It doesn't say what it is, not edible. You decided not edible means nevela. I'll tell you what non-edible means. It means dirt. Yes, pika. What is it called? Pika. It's talking about a guy that likes to eat dirt, and he swears, I will not eat dirt today. My wife told me if I eat dirt again, she's tossing me out. I swear I'm not going to eat dirt. Well, he didn't say it. He said, I swear I'm not going to eat things that are not edible. What he meant is dirt. The second part, so Mela, if he eats an avela, he didn't specify non-avela. So he's potter. But if he specifies, I won't eat an avela, then he's chayiv if he eats an avela. Because he specified it. Says the Gemara, let's see inside. So over here he said, I'm not going to eat, and then he ate dirt, he's potter. What if he ate an avela? No. Why? Because he's chayev. Why? Because it is food. And it's aryu the reviale. See? The lion told him not to eat it. The Akash Baruch Hu said don't eat it. It's good food. So Mele is chayev. Only on eating dirt is he potter. Omer Av Mari, I can prove it to you from the Mishnah. I have nothing to do with my wife if I had breakfast today. The truth is that he ate a geschmacka breakfast in the McDonald's. He had the breakfast meal in McDonald's that morning. Before he made the shvuah. He made a shvuah that if I ate today, I have nothing to do with my wife. The question is McDonald's considered eating in the morning? The answer is yes. Harei ishtoi asur lo. Why? Because you showed that you, as the Gemara is going to ask in a second, but you showed that it's food. The tachlis is you ate. So what do you see? You see from here that treif is considered food. Because if it wasn't considered food, you'd be mutter to your wife. Now that she cannot have any benefit from you at all, it proves that you broke your Shevuah by eating treif. In other words, treif is considered food. Ask the Gemara, I don't understand. It's different than our case. What happened in our case? In our case, a person swore he won't eat, and then he ate McDonald's. Over there, he swore that he didn't benefit anything in the morning, and it turns out he went to McDonald's beforehand. So the Gemara is a big difference. By the way, not McDonald's in Israel, because
Depends which one. Some are.
depends according to.
No, some are.
Yeah, it says kosher on it.
Some
Kosher.
are, some aren't. Depends if it's blue or red.
Yeah, he's not.
Some are,
Some are.
Some are not kosher. You
Okay.
have to see the color. Fair enough.
Forget here. Forget Eretz Yisrael. McDonald's in Chicago.
Some are not.
Over here, he went to McDonald's in the morning and then he made a Shevuah. That we had this svar a few times already in these sugyas where a person could take something. We said like by a Birevach, we said this svara. A person could take something and say, to me this is chashuv. This is important. So by him going in the morning and he sat down at a restaurant and he paid for his meal, that shows that it's important to him. But in our case, that happened afterwards. I don't know that it's chashuv. Daf Amud Beis. Turning of the daf in honor of our sons Kalmo Yisrael for learning Sanhedrin Makish Shevuos with the rebel. I got a picture. It was too late to put it in. I want to put it in of these two boys and Aaron Hirsch is from Aaron Hirsch from Lakewood, whose boys are also doing Sanhedrin Makish Shevuos. Adar Global, still experts in international financial services, anonymous in honor of the tzaddik whose name we cannot say, who shows us what it means to be a giver and a tzaddik. Omar Rava. My time in demand the Islay Isra Koilo. So let's go back here. Very, very geschmack. This is also by itself. This nevela over here is also by itself. When you make a Shevuah and you say, I'm not going to eat anything today, so it includes also kosher sandwiches. So since it includes kosher sandwiches, I added another thing that's also to me, the person, and memela, I'm going to add that same thing to the hamburger. I'm going to make two Yisrum. Not only is it an nevela, but now there's an Isser Shevuah on it. If I eat that hamburger, I'm over on a Shevuah. That's koilo. I included other stuff in there. Why does it work? What's Isser Moisef? So here we have an upgrade machine. You have a piece of chaylev, a piece of fat that's also for you to eat. And now it's kachim, it has a shtreimel, and it's a day old, 2 days old, whatever days you want to say it is. So now it just became aser even for the mizbeach. Before it was aser to human beings, you could put it on the mizbeach. Later on, we added something to that exact same piece of fat, and we said you cannot put it on the mizbeach. That, according to everybody, applies itself to the piece of chaylev, and that's called the Isser Moisef. So the Gemara wants to say, for now at least, that if I add, if you add something to a piece of fat, you add another Isser on top of it, it applies itself. So if I apply a Isser Shevuah to other stuff, and it works on the other stuff, so that Isser should also work on the burger. So Gemara says there's no connection. Why should it work to the burger? You added another Isser to a schnitzel sandwich. You didn't add it to the burger. Over here, you added the Isser Noiser on top of the Isser Chaylev. There was Isser Chaylev, and then you added another layer on top of it. You made it even Aser to the Mizbeach. Okay, so you have on two Isur. But over here, it's on two different things. One is the cheeseburger, one is the schnitzel sandwich. You said, I'm Aser even on schnitzel sandwich. So that's why you want to take that and put it on a burger? Why should that work? You see this concept by Moshe, that if you add another layer, it applies itself. So too, by Isser Kailo, you add another layer of Shevuah to schnitzel, you could add it to the hamburger. Uman de Leslie, and why would you argue on that? Okay, they take it out. Uman de Potter, let's see what it says over here on the side. Aleph. Tevis de Potter Leslie Xaviat. Okay, it doesn't matter. Uman de Potter Leslie, it doesn't even fit. De Potter de Leslie. Uman de Leslie, Ki Amrin Isser Moisef B'chad Chaticha. I can understand this one piece of fat that's also to human beings, but mutter to the Mizbeach, You added an isser that it's also to the mizbeach, that's 100% that works. So Mamela, that it became also to the human beings as well. Isser noiser applied itself to the human beings. You don't see that concept on two different objects. Just because you added an isser to object number 2 doesn't mean that isser should also apply itself to object number 1. In other words, it's more of an isser on the gavra, the guy making the shvuah, than the cheftza. The cheftza would be the chaylev. It's not even my words. This is in Rashi in the Rishonim. The cheftza is the chaylev. The chaylev had 2 layers of isser on it. The first layer for 1 day was only isser chaylev. Day 2, you added another isser to it. That is isser moisef. Isser koil in this case would be Yom Kippur. This food is also for you, human being, to eat. Why? Because it is chaylev. Then comes Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur makes all foods aser to you. So you want to apply the Yom Kippur to the chaylev. Well, it's already aser. It's aser to human beings. You didn't add anything to the piece of chaylev. No? Okay. This piece of chaylev is very simple. This piece of chaylev, are you allowed to eat it? No. So now I'm going to add to it Isser Yom Kippur. Nothing happened. It was aser to you and it's still aser to you. You want to add another Isser to it. Too bad. The Isser doesn't apply itself. This piece is already aser. Ein Isser Chalal Isser. I can't add another Isser. Moisef, chaylev was mutter to the mizbeach. Time out. This is mutter. I could put it on the mizbeach. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm a kohen and you're Yisrael. You're not allowed to eat this because it's truma. I'm allowed to eat it because I'm a kohen. Then I make it tamei, so I'm not allowed to eat it. So now you get the tamei also. You're right that you weren't allowed to eat it before, but now because tamei works. Why does it work? On this food it works because I made it also for me to eat. Me kohen. So if me kohen is also for tamei, you are also tamei. That's Moshe. But Yom Kippur didn't add anything to anybody.
It had a shasa kosher to something or something.
Exactly. It had a shasa kosher. Chaylev had a shasa kosher, was mutter 100% to the mizbeach. Today I come and say it's also to the mizbeach. You know what? So since it's also to the mizbeach, now you're going to suffer also on that isser of the mizbeach called noisar. Did the isser noisar work on this piece of chaylev? Yes. Now I cannot put it on his back. So if it worked on this piece of chaylev, it works on you too, Mr. Yisrael. But Yom Kippur doesn't work. It has nowhere to apply itself. This piece of chaylev is 100% also to all human beings. Yom Kippur can't go. It's knocking on the door. I want to come in there. I want to apply myself to this piece. No. There's nobody that was mutter to it before that Yom Kippur came and added. That's Isser Koilo. We're going to see what you're asking in a second. There is a way to add. Okay. So I could add other lavim. First of all, that's one man d'amar that says that Isser Koil doesn't work. There's another man d'amar that says Isser Koil does work, that you could add Yom Kippur to Chaylev. No, Moshe, everybody agrees that it works. Moshe is much simpler to understand because half of it was empty, like this cup over here. From here to here is the Isser, I don't know, could you zoom in on this? See the water up to here. This is the Isser Chaylev. Up to this line is Isser Chaylev. Here it's empty. I could put this on the Mizbeach. Once I fill up the cup with the Isser, now the Isser Noiser went into the cup. There is an Isser Noiser in this piece of meat. Everybody agrees that the Isser Noiser is in there. You can't get rid of that Isser Noiser. It became also to the Mizbeach. Oh. So Meila, you also, not just the Mizbeach is over on Noiser, so to speak, you Yisrael are over Isser Noiser. The Isser Yom Kippur, I'm going to take the whole cup, it's full to the top. No one could eat this because it's chaylev. And then I want to put a Yom Kippur on it. The Yom Kippur doesn't fit in this cup, according to that man d'amar.
Moses is adding aspects of Isser to the Chefza.
To the actual piece of chaylev. I could add another layer of Isser to the chefza, to the piece of meat. Koil, you're not touching. Koil means you're not adding to this meat, you're adding to yourself. You can't eat on Yom Kippur b'chlal. So once you can't eat Yom Kippur b'chlal, so I'm going to also say there's another Isser Yom Kippur on that piece of chaylev. That's mamash I said. It's a chefza and a gavra. One is I'm adding a Isser Yom Kippur on the gavra, on the human being, and the other is I'm adding a Isser on the chefza, on the piece of chaylev. Oh. I'm just thinking here, I saw something very interesting. Don't quote me on this and don't try this at home. But I saw that Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, when he got very sick at the end of his life, everybody is familiar with the Refuah Salanter as the big Bal Musar, but he was probably the biggest genius in learning of his generation. His shiurim and Eon and whatever, he's known as like a Bal Musar, but he was a genius in Torah. So he came up with this chap that he made a Shevuah, he swore, the doctor said he has to eat Yom Kippur. Has to eat Yom Kippur. It's a very interesting thing, just for us to think about. He swore that he's not going to eat from, let's say, 2 hours before Yom Kippur until after Yom Kippur. So the Shevuah works. Why? Because there's 2 hours before Yom Kippur that he can't eat because of his Shevuah. Once it works in those 2 hours, it also works on Yom Kippur. Then he went and he ate less than a shear, less than a kizayis. You're not breaking a Shevuah because you're only eating a chatzi shear. And Memela, Yom Kippur doesn't have a place to apply itself because his Shevuah overtakes Yom Kippur, came before Yom Kippur. It's a very interesting thing. I'm not saying you should do this and try because I might not even be saying it the right way. It's just an idea that Shevuah comes first, then Yom Kippur has nowhere to apply itself on top of the Shevuah.
What does he have to do?
Just not to be over on.
It's not over because it's a mitzvah.
Right, so now he's over on Shevuah rather than Yom Kippur. One is kars, one is not.
Not an issue.
Okay,
It's a mitzvah.
he doesn't have to. You're right.
It's a mitzvah. No, it's a mitzvah to eat.
I get it, but let's.
Why do you have to do that?
Because if you do it in an easier way, don't do it.
No, it's not easy.
Let me ask you
It's much more
something.
hard.
What would you rather do? Get an infusion or put it in your mouth? If you could do it a different way. Let's say, time out. Let's say, no, time out. One second. Reb Nachman.
Okay,
Let's say the doctor says you could eat this piece of chazer, but you have a choice to go get a piece of kosher meat. You wouldn't go 5 minutes to get the kosher meat. The doctor says it's but the doctor says it's a mitzvah to you. It's a mitzvah for you to eat this chazer right now. It's mitzvah, but I can get out of it. Super easy now, Rabbi Yisai. If you hold koilol, first he says I'm never going to eat a fig in my life. So let's say stop right over here. I'm not going to eat figs anymore. And then a minute later he says I'm not going to eat figs again. Another shvu, I'm not going to eat figs. How many times is he chayiv, this guy? One. He's only chayiv one. How do I make him over on 2 figs? By Yisr koilol. He makes another shvu, he's not going to eat pizza and figs. And since the shvu is going to work on the pizza, it's also going to work on the figs, even though he's also on figs beforehand. So now it'll be over. If he eats a fig, it'll be over 2. I won't eat figs. Because of once the shvuah works on the grapes, it also works on the figs. Pshita. Why wouldn't it? It's Issakoil. That's what the story that we said before. It only works when HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts it on there, Yom Kippur or whatever. Not you making shvuos. That it works. Masav Rava Berei the Rabba, a new Rava, right? I once did a check. There's about 52 Ravas in Shas. This is Rava, the son of Rabba. Here's a riddle. Rabbi say, think about this riddle. I guarantee you're not going to come up with the answer. How is it possible that a person's chayiv 4 chatois by eating 1 kezais of meat? Not only that, he's going to be over on an osham on top of it. The only way to do it, the only way is to do with Isser Kailul and Isser Moisef. Constantly adding stuff and including stuff. That's the only way. Veiluhain. Here, let's see. Was not accurate as of this morning. I don't know if Yoshi fixed it. Tomei, the guy's Tomei. Sha'ochal chaylev. He ate a piece of chaylev. Towards the middle of the Amud. So he's a Tomei. He ate chaylev. V'uno yisar. No, so here he put mugdash first. No good. It's mugdash. So you see he has a shtrimal first. Very good. This is good. Mugdash. Good. He became Kaddish. He said this is for the Beis Hamikdash. Put a shtrimal on. Then it's Noisar. It expired. And now it's Yom Kippur. He eats it with a talus, with a kittel. Yeah? Yom Kippur. So why you're chayiv? Check this out. Chaylev, says Rashi. I'm just saying Rashi. Right? The animal's born, chaylev. It's aser, 100% aser. The moment it's born. Mugdash, I'm saying that all the hide and the meat of the entire animal, everything is aser. So it's a koila. I added to the person, not to the chaylev remains the same. Noisar is an Issa Moisa because on the Chaylev itself I just added, on the Cheftza, on the Chaylev I added another Isser of Noisar because now it became also to the Mizbeach. Nitma, the guy became Tomei, so Yoshi's picture is not so good. It should have been Tomei at the end. Now the person became Aser in Kachim, so that's Isser Kailo, nothing to do with the Chaylev. And the Yom Kippur, another Isser Kailo. So this only goes according to Manomar of Isser Kailo.
What's the Oshon at the end?
Who?
Oshon, which Oshon?
On the Mila. On Mila, because I'm using the Kachim. The Gemara, like the Gemara is going to say, so we don't care so much about the Asham. That's a side category. We're talking about the Chattais here. So it says the Gemara. If you walk out with it, what?
Yeah, 5 is
Eilav Mugdash.
Oshon, he said, was Noisar is connected to the
Maybe.
Right, Oshon is in Eli.
So that's one of the 5.
Mugdashim is the Mila.
First, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah, maybe Mugdashim is also. Yeah, you're right. Mugdashim is Mila. Yeah, this should be in another chart really.
That should be separate.
Maybe that's why I did it. Okay.
Different color.
What?
Tzvi was nicer before Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
So it's the day before already. It's the second day of nicer.
Doesn't matter. Once it's nicer, it's nicer.
No, I'm saying
It
but you can't
just
do it
doesn't
nicer in
taste
the
as
morning.
good.
You can't do it nicer the morning of Yom Kippur. It has to be the day before.
Yeah, before. Where were we yesterday? Was it yesterday's year? Yeah, I think it was yesterday's year that the guy, what happened over there? The Gemara says that he was in a Vela before Yom Kippur, and then Yom Kippur came, so Yom Kippur doesn't apply itself to Nevela. So Rashi asks, what if it died on Yom Kippur, so Yom Kippur was first and then Nevela? So Rashi says, in that case, you have Eber Menachai first. So the Yom Kippur never applies itself. But over here, Yom Kippur applies itself. So the Gemara says, what about, says Remeir, he did Oitzah. He moved this piece of meat from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. We're talking about eating over here. Who's talking about, while he was walking, he also stepped on Hashem's name and he raised Hashem's name. He's not chayv another one. We're not talking about that. We're talking about within eating. So Taisa says, what's going on here? What was Remeir's Havamina? So it says Taisa because he was chewing it, he was swallowing it. As he was walking, he was swallowing, he's doing the Eitzah while he was eating it. So he thought it's an Achila. No. But you're over for carrying, not for eating. But if you're right, there's such a thing as a koilo, that with the date, with the fig, I said this fig is aser. It's a Shevuos on the fig. And then I said a Shevuos on a fig and grapes. And because it applies itself to grapes, it applies itself to the figs. Have 5. He added chaylev together with the tamarim. Now, migu the chayla tamarim, since the Shevuos works on the date, it should an additional chiyuv chatos. So the Gemara comes up with a bunch of reasons why not. Very simple stuff. Huh? Kikatani, hold on. We're not there yet. Kikatani is Rabba Meilov, is Rabba Matzmi, like Katani. Yeah? Yo? You skipped?
No, good.
You're saying a comment of it. Gemara says we're talking about things that happen by itself, like Yom Kippur, Nois, all these things happen by themselves, not because you added a Shevuos. As the Gemara very Hegdish, you made it with your own mouth, you made it Kaddish. No, B'Bchar, it happened by itself. It was firstborn. Or the whole list only involves things that you can't go to the Rav and undo. Shvuah, this Leishela, you could go to the rabbi and undo your Shvuah. It's not on the list like Katani. Hari Hegdish, but you could go to the rabbi and get rid of the Hegdish. Hakminim B'Bchar, you already said it's a B'Char, that you can't go to the rabbi. You can't tell the rabbi it's not a firstborn. Carbon Kavua, carbon oil of Yerid, like Katani. We're talking about achatas. We're not talking about an oil of Yerid carbon, which is, if you don't remember, this is oil of Yerid carbon, depends on how wealthy you are. As the Gemara Tomei, the guy who's Tomei Shachal is a Kodesh who eats Kodesh, the carbon oil of Yerid. You tell me you're not involving carbon oil of Yerid. One of the things you forgot is Tomei. So part of the riddle is you have to say that he's a Nasi. He is a Nasi, very Belezer, and it goes according to Belezer, a Nasi may be Sar. It's a solid carbon, it's not oil of Yerid. You need a shear. We're talking about a list of things that you have a shear, kazayis. Shvuah, the chayla apox make a shear. You can make a shvuah if you feel like making a shvuah and half a shear. It works. So we're not going to include shvuah. Apox make a shear like a ton. Hari hegdish. You don't need a full shear. Yes, as we said a few times already in the past week, Rabin and Shavah Pruta, you need a Pruta. Birevach ma'aviro ma'arib zera. Ravashi from the Avira place. He says the name of Rebbe Zera. Kikatani is doining kares. We're only talking about if you do it deliberately, you get kares. There's doinei lav, but if you do it and you only get a lav, not kares, like katani, it's not on the list. Shvuah is a lav. As the Gemara, Vari Asham, there's doinei lav uktani. What about Asham? You don't get kares. Bechatas kamrina. We're not talking about it. It's not part of the list. We're talking about the chatas part, not the kachim part, the mila part. Rabbeinu Omar kikatani midid the chayla midid the barachilahu. We're talking about something that's edible. Shvuah, the chayla midid la barachilahu like katani, but a shvuah could apply itself even to things that are not edible. Vari hegdish the chayla nami eitzim avanim. But one of the things in the list is hegdish, and it could apply itself to a stone. Stones are not edible. Elo kikatani midid the chayla midid dismi mishasha. It has to have something that you could touch, you could feel. Shvuah, the chayla midid lesbi mishasha. You can make a shvuah, for instance, you go in sheishan, I will sleep. B'shaloishan, I won't sleep. You can't feel that. So therefore, it's not on the list. Like Katani, Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.